Today's video is all about the innumerable lies of former WWE champion and two-time WWE Hall of Famer Hulk Hogan. It won't be a stretch to call Hulk Hogan the greatest WWE superstar in the history of this business. He is a multiple-time WWE champion, two-time Hall of Famer, headlined the very first WrestleMania way back in 1985 and also headlined 8 out of the first 9 WrestleManias. Hulk Hogan's legendary career has been marred with a lot of controversies, and at this point most of the fans are aware that there isn't a bigger liar than Hulk Hogan in the industry. Over the past few decades, Hulk Hogan has told many lies. Back in late 2021, a popular pro wrestling Twitter handle called Alan Cheapshot collected almost all of Hulk Hogan's lies over the years and put them in a proper Twitter thread. So without further ado, let's begin this video and check out the greatest lies the Hulkster has ever told. The wrestler director Darren Aronofsky offered Hulk Hogan the lead role 3 times. Hogan claims he turned it down because he didn't deserve it. Aronofsky categorically denies that Hogan was ever even considered for the role. Hogan was an all-state pitcher in high school, and that he was scouted by both the New York Yankees and the Cincinnati Reds, but an injury prevented him from signing with either team. Hulk Hogan has claimed in the past that he is the one who first noticed Kevin Owens' potential. Well, I hate to brag about it, but I am the first one to point the finger at Kevin Owens. After a decade of solid work by Kevin Owens in the Indies, Hulk Hogan starred in Mr. Nanny and Santa with Muscles. Hogan claims he rewrote both scripts entirely, only to have his writing credits stolen from him by the dastardly Writers Guild. Hogan says he used to fight Pride fighters in the 70s. Pride Fighting Championships was founded in 1997. Hulk Hogan has claimed in the past that he was the first to slam Andre the Giant. He was the first to body slam Andre the Giant, and that Andre weighed 600 pounds when Hogan body slammed him, and the lie that Andre died a few days after the slam. Hogan also claimed that he tore 18 muscles in his back while slamming Andre the Giant. John Belushi unfortunately died in 1982, but apparently, according to the Hulkster, he partied with him after WrestleMania 2 in 1986. Hulk Hogan told Undertaker that he had caused permanent damage to his neck by botching that tombstone spot. Hogan was talking about the WWE Championship match between him and The Undertaker at Survivor Series 1991. And Taker believed Hulk Hogan for the better part of 2 years before finally seeing a tape of the match which clearly showed Hogan's head came nowhere near the chair. Hulk Rules, an album released by Hulk Hogan and the Wrestling Boot Band. One of the most famous tracks from the album is the tribute song Hulkster in Heaven. According to Hogan, he met a very ill Make-A-Wish kid in England and got him a ticket to SummerSlam at Wembley Stadium to watch him wrestle in the main event. Hogan wasn't at SummerSlam. He wasn't in the UK at the time. Hogan claimed that he was asked to join a startup company known as UFC, Ultimate Fighting Championship. While UFC wasn't nearly as popular as it is today, Hogan said he wouldn't have joined because guys get beat up when the fight should be stopped. While he was in WCW, Hogan said that a pay-per-view bout between himself and Mike Tyson was supposed to commence. Hogan's excuse as to why it didn't happen: Tyson was too scared. The George Foreman Grill. Hulk Hogan claimed on an episode of Hogan Knows Best that the reason he didn't get the offer was because he was out picking up his kids from school. Hulk Hogan did claim that back in his heyday, he wrestled in 400 days in 1 year. Hogan claimed that since he traveled so frequently between the United States and Japan, the time difference made the 400 days a possibility. In Hulk Hogan's autobiography, he made the claim that Elvis was a huge Hulk Hogan fan before Hogan joined the WWF. He did work in Memphis in 1977. However, Elvis died in 1977. Hogan claimed that both Metallica and the Rolling Stones wanted him as their bass player, but Metallica member Lars Ulrich came to Hogan himself to ask him to play with the group. Hogan claimed he had been offered and turned down a so-called Legends match at WrestleMania 22. That alleged match, Hulk Hogan vs Greg Valentine. When he ran for president, Lino asked Hogan about his platform, Flat Tax Brother. Jay asked him to explain it for the folks at home. Hogan stammered before coming up with 16%. Jay asked how he came up with that number. He mumbled something about 16% being higher than 15%. Hogan claimed he was blackballed from Hollywood because he turned down a gay producer's advances in the 1980s. He claimed he came up with the idea for the NWO, the New World Order, but he wanted it to be him, Booty Man and the Nasty Boys. Hogan claimed Harley Race came to the arena with a gun in Kansas City in the 1980s and set the ring on fire. And then, when he ran into Hogan, he shook his hand, thanked him for all he had done for wrestling, and asked for a job. He sat next to Kerry Von Erich on a flight to Japan 72 hours before Kerry killed himself. He claimed he was the wrestler responsible for the WWF first selling merchandise. He had to talk Vince into it. Hogan claimed he was banned from David Letterman because he stopped Letterman from hitting on Linda Hogan. Hogan has appeared on Letterman many times. Hogan said he used to be 6'9", but now after his back and knee surgeries, he is only 6'4". Hogan was going to commit suicide, literally had the gun in his hand pointed at his head when he got a call from Laila Ali that he took as a sign he should keep trying to live. He claimed that Vern Gagne got Nick Bockwinkel to shoot on him during one of their AWA title matches. Hogan shot back and won the fight. He said he wanted to drop the title to Piper in 1985, but he didn't think Piper would be willing to lose it back to him. Hogan claimed he wanted to turn heel on Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6, but Vince wouldn't go for it. He claimed that Tatsumi Fujinami tried to shoot on him in Japan and steal the WWF title, but he beat him. The things I am not a steroid abuser and I do not use steroids, but said Hulk Hogan. Hogan once claimed that Andre took a dump in a hotel bathtub and filled it all the way up to the taps. Hogan also claimed that he and Antonio Inoki had a match in Japan where Hogan beat him up so badly he died, but got brought back to life via CPR after the match. But Hulk couldn't work in Japan for a while after because the Yakuza were after him. Hogan in his autobiography claimed he batted an unheard of .714 in the Little League World Series. In fact, it was so unheard of that to this day the Little League has no record of a Terry Bollea ever even playing in the World Series. In high school, Hulk Hogan aka Bollea never wrestled, except for one day where he claimed his gym teacher, also his wrestling coach, made him wrestle a recently graduated champion of champions. Not only did Hogan pin him, but he also pinned his gym teacher right afterwards. A lifelong fan of wrestling, growing up watching his hero Dusty Rhodes on TV, it was at Hogan's first live event when he was 9 that the young Hulkster saw Dusty Rhodes beat Dory Funk Sr. and he's been hooked ever since. Dusty wouldn't even debut until 1967 when Hogan was 14. According to Hulk Hogan, on the set of Rocky III, Sylvester Stallone was a really good sport because if word got out that Hogan had power slammed Sly so hard that blood squirted out of his mouth on impact, Hulk could have been blacklisted from Hollywood. In 1983, Vince McMahon Jr. flew to Minneapolis personally to re-sign Hulk Hogan, which was risky according to Hulk considering that Minneapolis was a very small town back in 1983. It had a population of 1.8 million. According to the Truth Teller, Hulk Hogan, when he signed with the WWF, Bob Backlund was very upset and jealous. Hogan talked about bitter Bob not wanting to pass the torch to the incoming star, refusing to appear or tag with Hogan. These screen grabs must be CGI generated then. I can't breathe. Hogan said this about outdrawing the Pope at the Silver Dome. The Pope, God bless him, only filled 80,000 seats. But it was okay. I was preaching the gospel in the ring that day anyway, so whoever came got their dose. Remember Hogan said after he slammed Andre the Giant that he tore all the muscles in his back? There was no time to recuperate, however. He had to fly right away to Japan, where he wrestled for 29 straight nights. There is no record of Hulk Hogan wrestling in Japan from 1986 to 1992. According to Hulk Hogan, Linda Hogan was extremely jealous and paranoid about Hulk being away in Hollywood. Because of her, Hogan had to pass up a film role opposite Pamela Anderson at the height of her fame, and before that, the lead role in Highlander. When he was working for the AWA, he talks about how he had to make his own merchandise because they were so bad at promoting their wrestlers. When he returned from a tour of Japan, Hulk discovered AWA promoter Vern Gagne had started producing and selling his own Hogan t-shirts. When asked what percentage of the sales he would get, Gagne said he wouldn't get any, which enraged Hogan. It became so hot that the Olympian wrestler questioned Hulk, "How much did Matsuda teach you?" "Enough to beat you," Hogan answered, prompting Vern to charge him. According to Hulk, Vern's feet slid on the floor and he fell into a front face lock, which Hogan locked tight. When he let him go, Vern sprang up, his hair tangled and his face flushed, and went off to the restroom to regroup, saying, "You are in danger for that." Vern's son Greg then began taking his sweater off to avenge his father, but David Schultz told him that was a bad idea, so Greg left too, and that was pretty much the end of my relationship with Vern. I put Mick Jagger in his place. Peak Hulk Hogan lie. The Rolling Stones played one gig between 1982 to 1989, which was in 1986. Hulk Hogan told a story about a Japanese woman that he dated back in the late 70s. He had moved on from her and started dating a California woman. When he told the Japanese woman about it, she didn't take it well, and later Hogan regretted it at his parents' house. When I walked into the house, that Japanese girl was at my house. She was crying when I walked in. I walked in and saw the Japanese girl at my mother's house and my dad. I about fainted, especially with the look my dad gave me. I called Horace and I said, "Get your ass over here and get her out of here." I never saw her again. Hulk Hogan claims Paramount Pictures had called him the next John Wayne. He said, "You're going to be my next John Wayne." Then he laid out the schedule and what was expected of me, on and off camera. I went, I'm the wrong guy for that stuff. I just decided to go back to wrestling. Hogan continued to make movies almost yearly. Vince McMahon and I sat down and basically spent 3 days on Laguna Beach writing No Holds Barred, and then we brought a writer in to clean it up who got all the credit for it because we didn't know anything about writing or the Screen Actors Guild or the Writers Guild. So yeah, these were some of the greatest lies that Hulk Hogan, former WWE champion, has ever told. Let me know in the comment section below which lie made by Hulk Hogan impressed you the most and made you laugh the most.